Right. Hey guys, how's it going? um, Today, I'm going to be making quite a serious video. This is going to be very different from the videos that I usually make, because this is quite a serious topic. I'm going to be talking about my old school. Now, I've wanted to talk about this for ages. I've wanted to talk about it since I left. And I actually did once. I actually did try to talk about it. And that was when I wrote my review of the school. This review I posted to Google. I posted the review of my school to Google 3 months ago. And it is 9 pages. Is it 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's 9 pages. So it's basically just 9 pages of me explaining my experience, which, by the way, it was terrible. And if I show you the review page on my phone, which I'm not signed into, by the way. I'm not signed into Google on my phone, so I can actually show you the reviews. My review does not come up. My review is not there, so I don't know if that's because Google's blocked it or because the school themselves has blocked it. I don't know, but however that's happened, my review is not viewable to anyone on the internet at all. So, you forced me to do this secondary school that I'm going to name now, Hewish Episcopi Academy. That is the name of that school. I am naming this school, and I am not scared to do so, because this school was so bad that I have to talk about it. I'm sorry, but I have to. I don't know if it's Google that's done this or it's the school that's done it. Nobody is able to see my review. Nobody. The only person that is allowed to see it is me, because I was the person that posted it. So I'm going to change that today. I'm going to change that, and I'm going to make sure that everyone can see the review. I'm going to post this video on YouTube, and you are going to see my review of this school, and I'm going to make amends to it, because this is old, and I haven't covered everything. So I'm just going to read it. I'm going to read through the review. I'm going to make amends to it while I'm going through it. And then I'll add some stuff on the end. First of all, though, before I get into it, please do not come and attack the school. Don't go and attack anyone at the school. They are not the ones at fault here. I don't know who it is that's at fault. So don't go and attack people. Please, don't do it. It might be quite a long video. This might be quite a long video. I don't know. Yeah, and we're just going to sort of go through it. I'm going to make amends to the review as we go through it, because there are things that are definitely not right in the review, and there are things that I've missed, but I'm going to go through it. I'm going to do a thorough review of the school. Hi, I used to be a student at this school 2019 to 2024, and I feel very strongly about my experiences here, so much so that I feel I have to voice it due to it being so poor that I honestly feel like this school shouldn't be open. By shouldn't be open, I basically just... yeah, it shouldn't be open. Or it just needs to be extremely, extremely vastly improved, because it's not right. It's not right up there. First and foremost, I want to say, when I say bad things have happened, I'm not targeting any students or teachers in particular. This is a review of the school as a whole and not the individuals within it. Although I do want to talk about certain teachers within the school, though, because I don't think they should be working there. I think they should be, and they have been punished. These teachers that I'm going to talk about, some of them have been punished for the things they've done. That is how bad it is. I suppose I should start with the beginning of my experience here, so let's go all the way out to 2019. I just joined Year 7. I honestly felt great about going to Hewish. The teachers were great, the lessons were educational, and most importantly, everything was in control. This is 100% true. There was very, very little that was wrong at this point. There was, I think the only reason for this is because it was pre-COVID, so that things were sort of in control. Everything was alright. After a while, let's say December 2019, I'm going to push that forward and say like January, February 2020, because that's when COVID sort of started making things go a bit wrong. Things began to get a little weird. There were fights happening more and more often, people were truanting, which is basically just skipping lessons, more and more often, and even at one point the police were supposedly called to the school. The police were called because, I can't remember it exactly. I think it was because someone was vandalising one of the classrooms. I remember I was in lunch one day, I was in the canteen, and the police were in the room next to the canteen. There was the canteen, then there was a storage room, and then there was one of the English classrooms. That English classroom, the first one, was supposedly someone broke a window or they broke into the classroom somehow, and that's what got the police called, was that. Someone broke into it. That's pretty much it for year 7, as I was in lockdown for most of it, but I suppose I can talk about a little more about the lockdown at the school and how it was dealt with. So basically, in June, July-ish 2020, both my parents were considered as key workers, which meant that I couldn't stay at home. I had to go into school, which is something that they did, and there were signs everywhere about, actually, no, it wasn't everywhere. It was just like above doors, on the floor, stuff like that. But they did have signs that said social distance, and they had hand sanitizing stuff everywhere. If you had to come within 2 meters of someone, they would make you wear a mask, which is good. That's good. When I wasn't in the school, though, this was prior to the key worker thing, they would set work literally every 5 to 10 minutes. I would be sat there, making a video, or watching YouTube, or writing, or something, and it would be every 10 minutes, there would be a new assignment. It'd be like, assignment from so-and-so, assignment from so-and-so. I can't show you that anymore, because they've disabled my account now, because I've left. They've disabled my Google account, so I can't show you that anymore, but they were definitely doing it. I just felt that was wrong, because it just felt like I had no downtime at all, which just wasn't right, I don't think. Back to the school though, there were 2 meters in place, and some of the teachers enforced it. A lot of them didn't. There was only like 2 or 3 teachers that actually enforced the 2 meter rule. Others though, I remember I'd be literally stood next to people, like all the time, and they didn't even care. The teachers, they didn't even care. The teachers didn't care. Which, I honestly don't care, because it's COVID, and COVID's pretty much just over now. So, we're just not going to talk about COVID anymore. But that was wrong, in my experience. If you can submit something to the COVID inquiry, then tell me, because I will. I will submit stuff like that to the COVID inquiry. Let's move forwards. I'm going to skip bits of year 8 because I don't really remember it very much. Was there something in year 8? I mean, there was another lockdown. I was forced to take a COVID test in year 8, I think. Yeah, January 2021, I was forced to take a COVID test. Like, there wasn't no questions asked. I was pulled out of a lesson. The teacher said, hey, you should go down and take a COVID test. No one else in my year did, until like 3 or 4 days later, and I was forced to do it. I wasn't given a say at all. I would have done it, and I did. But they didn't tell me. They didn't say, do you want to? They just said, go and do it. One thing in year 8 thing that did happen though is there was a massive problem with racism. I remember being in a changing room once and someone said something about George Floyd, the late George Floyd. Someone said something about him that was incredibly racist, something that I'm not going to repeat because of how bad it was. No one said anything because this person was very intimidating. This person was very intimidating, so no one said anything. And this led to an assembly. There was an assembly like 2 or 3 weeks after this happened, because it was becoming such a big problem. So many of the popular people at my school at the end of year 11 became popular because they were racist in year 8. That is 100%. This is why, that's how that happened. And they didn't I don't think they punished anyone for this. They just made an assembly about it, which I'm going to talk about now. There was an assembly. I remember going to my form, and my form tutor was there. She was almost like a bouncer for like a club, right? Except it wasn't a club, but she was almost like a bouncer. She was like letting some people in, and she was sending some other people off to the auditorium. Now I noticed that she wasn't sending off any of the girls. I don't know why. She was saying, right, you go in, you go in, you go in, you go off to H1, which is the auditorium. I don't know why the assembly was for only the boys. I don't know why they did that. I think it should have been for everybody, and I think they did do another one at some point which was for everybody, but the initial first one that they ever did was only for the boys in year 8. I don't know why. But that's what it was. That's how they did it. Year 9, nothing really happened in year 9. Oh yeah, there was something actually. Somebody, or a group of people actually, once upon a time in year 9, they went to the bottom of the playing fields. There's like a basketball court and then there's a playing field. They went down there, and they set loads of books on fire. They had managed to somehow get a pile of books and a lighter. They brought a lighter into the school and they set books on fire. It's obviously like they don't have any form of searching bags or anything, which is honestly just not good at all. There was a lot of bullying in year 9, I remember that. There were quite a few students actually, an extreme amount of bullying actually. It got so bad to the point that certain students that were being bullied were being taken out of the school. They were being completely removed from the school and moved to different schools. That is how bad it was, and that's how little the teachers were doing about it, is the fact that it got so bad that people were leaving. I'm going to go to year 10 and the Ofsted inspection now. The Ofsted inspection, which, by the way, we were rated inadequate. The school was rated as inadequate. I remember this. This was not good. This was bad. This was really bad. So when they usually do Ofsted inspections at the school, they send out forms to all the students to fill out to aid in the inspection. They sent out a form, and I don't have access to it anymore because my account was terminated at Google. Well, it wasn't terminated, it was just closed by the school because I'm not there anymore. Anyway, they sent out this form, and I don't know what it was about because I never got to fill it out. Now, the form, the deadline for the form, so after this deadline, the form would just close. It would just be like, you can't have a response anymore. The form closed at 3:20 on the day that the inspection was over. Now, we were not told about this form. No one said anything about this form. I only saw it after it closed, so that was not very good. I think they only sent it out on the first day of the inspection as well, so no one was told. So that means that not a lot of people could fill it out. And it also closed 10 minutes before the school day ended, which means even more people would not be able to fill this form out. So they're basically they just tried to get less responses so they could get less of the truth out, which obviously they failed at because the school got rated as inadequate. And the main reason for it getting rated inadequate is because of someone like me, who got to talk to one of the inspectors. I remember an inspector personally asked me, and someone else, a couple of other people, to come out of lesson, go to like this room, and just talk to them about, it was like, do you feel safe walking home? Do you feel safe doing this? Do you think SLT are doing a good job? Do you think the teachers are teaching correctly? And we were all like, no. And that was sort of the final nail in the coffin for that. We are going to find that report now. I'm going to find it and I'm going to show it to you. No report yet. This is another thing as well. They closed and reopened the school on the Ofsted website just to get rid of that inadequate report. I don't know if that's because we switched learning trust, which we did. We switched over to a company called United Learning. I don't know if they did that just because we switched over, or they did that to get rid of the old reports. I don't know. But either way, it's not very good. Here we go. So this is it. Inspection of the Academy. 2nd and 3rd of November 2022. Inadequate, requires improvement, and good. And it basically just goes on to say safeguarding is not effective, students don't feel safe in the school, and SLT aren't really doing anything, the curriculum isn't very good, and people are challenging authority at the school, which was happening and still did when I left. But yeah, on the inspection days, so that'll be the 2nd and 3rd of November 2022, they would put 10 times the amount of teachers on the playgrounds, in classrooms, and just generally around the school. So there were people guarding bathrooms, guarding corridors, guarding playgrounds, and it was just ridiculous. I felt like I was in prison on those 2 days. If I've never been to a prison, but if this was if I could imagine prison, that's what it would be like. And as soon as it was over, they just get rid of all the teachers. There'll be like 10, 15 teachers guarding toilets, guarding playgrounds, doing this, doing that. As soon as the inspection was over, 2 teachers were guarding the playground and nowhere else. That was it. So they're basically just lying to impress, aren't they? After the report was published, the old headmaster, who I'm not going to name because he's got nothing to do with this, he's gone, that's it. He was fired by Ofsted. He was gotten rid of. Apparently he's now an economics teacher at a different school, but he was fired, and they brought in a headmistress, an interim headmistress, before they brought in another interim person, and then the real head teacher. This headmistress, when she was brought in, she was so strict. There were like 15 people suspended in her first day of being here at the school. And I remember going into the assembly to sort of introduce her. The first thing she said was, and I quote, "There were students that didn't follow the rules yesterday. These students are not here today." That just felt so intimidating. She is just trying to scare us, honestly. It just felt like being scared. And she was just extremely intimidating. And I don't think that should be... That should not be the quality of a head teacher at all. The first thing you want to be as a head teacher is to be respected, not to be intimidating to anyone. If you're intimidating, you're not a good head teacher. I also remember One of my friends told me this. They said they were talking about something, and one of my friend's friends were talking smack about that teacher, and the teacher was following them. The teacher followed behind them and said, "Oh, it's very rude to say something like that." Or she said I'm right behind you, And I was like, really? That's not right. That is not right. And then they brought in another interim person. They brought in a headmaster, an interim headmaster, and he was brilliant. Honestly, I wish he'd stayed as the actual head teacher of the school. He was actually changing things. Things were actually getting better under his rule. He introduced a rule called, no hands-on, which basically means you can't go up to someone else and touch them without their permission. This should have been a rule. This should have been a rule since day one. But it honestly wasn't. So people were literally, before this rule was brought in, they would punch each other. Literally, they would playfully punch each other, hit each other, smack each other, and touch each other. And they still did after this rule was brought in. They still did, but it was extremely, extremely less than it was, which is great. But after this interim head teacher left, they brought in the actual permanent headmistress, who is still the headmistress up there, and it has fallen back into disrepair. It was going a good direction, but once she was brought in, it sort of retracted back, and it's gone back to the way it was, which is not good. Let's go to year 11 now. There's quite a lot for year 11, actually. So, first of all, the school is in extreme disrepair. It honestly felt like it was derelict, or it was just in complete shambles, the school. I remember being in a changing room, in the PE changing rooms. I was in there. I just sort of sat down doing nothing, and the ceiling for this room, they have these these horrible plastic tiles that literally every school or establishment has. Yeah, it was literally tiles like this in the ceiling, but they were all missing. Loads of them were missing, and there was wires, pipes, basically just extreme health hazards, because and the wires were hanging down. The wires weren't just up in the ceiling away from reach. They were hanging down. You could touch them if you wanted to. I didn't get a picture of this, unfortunately, because we weren't allowed phones. We were not allowed to use phones for any reason, but it wasn't really enforced properly, so people still used phones, which honestly I don't really care if people use phones or not. But anyway, let's just sort of get through it. Another thing of bad ceiling tiles, they seriously need to redo the ceilings and roofs for the building. Because a couple of years ago there was a maintenance man on the roof of the main hall, and he was doing something, I don't know what it was, and the roof was so insecure, it was so unstable, he put his foot down and his foot went through the roof. And apparently it smashed light. Apparently his foot went through the roof right on a light. There was a light on a string thing, and it was a ball light, a light in a ball. This light literally fell from the ceiling, smashed into thousands of pieces on the floor. And this was during lunch as well. That room, the main hall where he was working above, that is a canteen. People hang out in there, and it was at lunch. Thankfully no one was hurt though. No one was hurt during that, but it could have gone that way because it was at lunch in a social space. Another thing, there's literally graffiti everywhere in the school. There's everywhere you look, it's everywhere. Even in classrooms, there's scribbles on walls, paint being torn off the walls, gum everywhere. And the site team aren't trying to fix it. I get it that they can't fix all of it because there's just so much, but they should at least try to do something about it, because doing nothing is just going to get worse. But yeah. Most of the graffiti as well was in a new building, a brand new building as well. It was only built in like 2016, versus like the 40s. I think most of the rest of the school buildings from the 40s. But yeah, that building was built in 2016 and it's already trashed. So that just goes to show how out of control the school is. Let's just sort of focus on something else, like student affairs. I've talked about bullying. It has improved since United Learning took over, but honestly, it's not good enough. It hasn't improved to such a degree that I'm going to feel happy with it, because, like, it's a massive part of school life. The physical and mental safety of students should be above everything else, and if they're not improving that to a good standard, then it's not a safe school, it's not a safe space to go. I forgot about this. In year 8, I had a problem in my friend group with someone that I am no longer friends with. This person, I don't know what he was doing. I think he was just bullying people for no reason. And there was a questionnaire in year 8 where I had to put, it was like a questionnaire about safeguarding or something. And at the bottom of this questionnaire, there was an option to sort of say, have you been having problems, blah, 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 blah. And I did put it in. I said, this is happening, this is a problem, we'd like you to sort of talk it over and try and fix it. And I submitted it, and a week went by, nothing. 2 weeks, nothing. No emails, no teachers coming to talk to me, nothing. And it was just weeks went by, months went by, and no one did anything. Nothing was done. So this problem, it inevitably got worse. It got to the point where our entire friend group was destroyed by this person. Because nothing was done. Nothing was ever done. And that's how that happened. So it ended up that it was like a 10-person friend group as well, and just people started leaving. People were leaving. Someone left the school as well. I don't know if they left it because of that problem or they just left it because of another reason, but it was just leave, and eventually it was just me and someone else, because the person that was bullying everyone just sort of up and left. So that is the repercussion of the teachers doing absolutely nothing about a problem. That is how bad it gets if teachers do nothing. So if I've ever had an issue since then, I've never talked to a teacher about it because of this, because of the fact that the teachers did nothing when I tried to talk to them about this problem I had in year 8. So that's not very good, is it? Another issue, they are disrespecting authoritative figures. This is about students. This has gone down a little bit. Well, it did go down until I left, at least. But it still happened. People were still disrespecting teachers. They were still, they would say, remove your hoodie, because hoodies aren't allowed. They would say, remove your hoodie. They walk off, the student would turn around the corner, put it back on. And this did come out of school as well. People were disrespecting the public outside of school. There was a point, I was walking home once, and this guy in, I'm going to say year 8, he acted like he was in year 8, but he was probably not in year 8. He jumped out into the road and was almost hit by a car. And the person in the car, rightly so, said something like, "I could have killed you." Which he could have. He was going quite fast. Not speeding, but he was going fast. The student, if it was me, I would have been like, oh my god, I could have just died. I could have just been hit by a car. This student turns around, carefree, starts swearing at the guy. Why? What is wrong with this generation? What is wrong with them? And it was just like they were arguing with each other. This kid would just be like, and I was like, seriously? You could have been killed. You could have died. And you're just disrespecting the public. I don't think anything was ever done about that either. This person, thankfully, the member of the public didn't go and press charges for harassment against the student. They didn't, thankfully. But it could have gone that way. It could have. Either that or he did tell the school and the school didn't do anything about it. So, I don't know. Another problem with the school, more recently, as they become more popular, is vaping. There is a massive problem with vaping at the school. It has been a problem for like 2 years, and honestly, because they've just not been educating people about the risks of vaping, smoking, alcohol, drugs, etc., etc., it's not going to end. And it even says it is illegal to smoke indoors. It has been illegal to smoke indoors since 2007. It has been illegal to smoke indoors for 17 years. Since I've been born, longer than I've been alive, longer than most of the people that go to that school have been alive. So, but they still do it, and they're not really doing anything about it. The worst I've seen people get is a suspension. Not exclusions, not the police getting called. I don't even know if the police get called for smoking indoors. A fixed penalty of £50. So, and that's never happened. The worst that happened was people were suspended. No one was fined. Nothing really happened. So that just really goes to show that this school doesn't care. And the amount of people in the school, literally everyone I knew had one. Like, that was like 1 in 2 people that I knew had vapes. That's how popular they were. And then 90% of that populace that I knew used them within the school. So that has to be like 50 to 100 people in my year group alone. So that's not good. And I know that the school can't really control it, but they should be doing something. They should be confiscating it, or reporting them to the police at least, or fining them, like they should be, like you have to do when people smoke indoors. Let's move on to some of the worst part. Oh, and people would smoke in lessons as well. Not just whipping out a smoke, not just whipping out a cigarette and going. No, they would go out of lesson, and they would go to the toilet and do it. So that's just disrupting learning. It's wasting people's time. I did know someone that did actually vape in a lesson once, though. They pulled it out. They did it like a little bit, and they just sort of went into their bag. But they did do it in lesson. So again, just shows how much they really don't care. Now we're just going to go on to the worst part about the school, and this is in the review. First of all, there's a massive teacher deficit in the school. Teachers literally dropped like flies from the school. In year 11, they just went like boom, 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 like they were gone. Even teachers were leaving during my exams. Like, I needed those teachers, and they were leaving. Someone left, my maths teacher, my old maths teacher, left at Christmas, and I was given, apparently, a maths specialist, a maths professional that will help with my maths. This teacher didn't know who I was, And he wasn't even a good teacher. He didn't teach stuff properly, and he was annoying. He would annoy literally everyone. And he acted so childish about us, like unprofessional, stuff like that. And he would always say, like, I need to speak to you outside the classroom, please. And it was like, just be professional. And that guy, I'm sure he's like the vice principal of the school as well. That's just goes to show what, dare I say, what idiots the school are hiring. But yeah, from the beginning of the year 11, my form tutor, history, maths, science, form tutor, history, maths, science, and English have left. They're all left now. My English and form tutors, English and form, they were both still there when I was there, but now they're gone. And after I left, 16 more teachers that have taught me, taught other people, they've all left as well. So that's like, how many teachers is that? That's 19 teachers. That's nearly 20 teachers that have left the school. And they need like 70 to run the school properly. So if they've had 70 up until now and 20 have left, that means they're going to need to either hire 20 new teachers very quickly, or they're going to need to hire, or they're going to have to get in some sort of agency for substitute teachers. And substitute teachers, the ones that I had at least, they couldn't teach. They're not qualified. They just volunteered to teach at the school, but they don't teach at all. They just give us a sheet and they say, here, work on this. They just put some music on. They don't do anything. They're not qualified. They just teach us. They don't teach us. They're not qualified. None of the sub-teachers were. Some of my friends as well have had 3 to 4 different science teachers in 1 year. 3 to 4 different teachers. And you're only supposed to have a maximum of 3 teachers. You would have, if you're doing triple science, you would have 1 for biology, 1 for chemistry, 1 for physics. If you're doing double, which was like I was doing, you would have 1 for chemistry and biology. No, you wouldn't. You would have 1 for chemistry and physics, and 1 for biology. So having 3 to 4 different teachers, and this is from a range of different sets as well. This is from like set 1, which is triple, down to like set 4, which is double. So 3 to 4 is just ridiculous. It's not, I know it's not in their control, and it's not their fault at all. It's not the teacher's fault that they've left. I don't blame them, honestly. But it is ridiculous that we have done our entire GCSE course under 1 or 2 teachers, and then they've just up and left, and we've been given someone that barely knows us, barely knows our needs, and sometimes can't even teach the course we're doing. We're not going to talk about that because that is controversial. Oh wait, no. Some of the teachers that they've hired aren't professional. This is inexperience to something that happened to me that I'm going to show evidence for, because this is ridiculous. This is the worst thing that has happened ever. And it's just vile. It's vile. That they're hiring unprofessional teachers. You know what I'm going to show you now. I'm going to do it. Right, what should we see first? Because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 7 pictures for this teacher. 7 pictures from this teacher about things she said. Should we start with my drama performance, my year 10 drama performance? I think this is the email for that. Right, this is the email I sent to my drama teacher, for the year 10 performance, because she had not, at this time, confirmed anything. She hadn't said anything to us. She just sort of expected us to turn up, basically, and just expect to know what to do. But yeah, I basically just said, "Hi miss, on Tuesday 27th of June, period 3, could you explain to us what to do on Wednesday 28th of June? I'm very confused about a few things. Do we go in non-school uniform? Do we go to form or straight to main hall? Do we go home at 15:30 and return later for the assessment? We need to know what time we need to return if this is the case, or do we go straight to H1 after the day has finished because my parents need to know if they need to deliver food to me or not? I just want to say now, actually no, I'll let us get into her response afterwards, so I can sort of pick apart what she said versus what actually happened. They also need to know what time to expect me home, and we, the drama classes, need to know these details too, as it will cause issues and impact the day if other students are confused. I hope these questions make sense. Thanks, Aaron, Year 10. This is what she came back with. This is what the teacher came back with. I'm going to be blurring her name because I don't want her in trouble and I don't want you attacking her. And she basically just sort of said, you arrive at school wearing whatever you want and head straight to H1. Whatever you want doesn't really clarify what we need to wear, because people needed to wear costumes. People needed costumes on those days, so just sort of saying, wear whatever you want isn't quite right, if that makes sense. And so she hasn't acted professionally and said, hi, Aaron. She just sort of said, okay, so WED's 28th June is the day. That's not very professional to me. We will start the technical rehearsals at 9 a.m. This did actually happen, which is good. Each group will take a turn to do their technical plan and then head over to the main hall to rehearse with Miss which is a teacher they brought in to help us rehearse. Then, when everybody's tech is complete, we'll gather all together and do a dress run of all pieces. So some of the tech rehearsals went on for far longer than they were supposed to. Which obviously started cutting into the timetable of the day that she outlined here. So basically, some of them were going on until after we were supposed to start dress running. So we did dress run all of the pieces, but it went up to like 5:30. It was only supposed to take up to 4 p.m, but it went up to like 5:30, 5 o'clock-ish. She said, you will then break for an hour, bring a packed tea, re-energize, and all the performance will start at 5 p.m. Now, because all of this stuff overran to 5 p.m, we were given 5 minutes break. We were not given an hour, or anything even. We weren't even given 5 minutes, I don't think. I think it was like 2 minutes. But yeah, we weren't given an hour. We were promised an hour, and we were given 5 minutes. We'd basically just run all of our performances, and then thrown out of the auditorium for 5 minutes, brought back in, and then we had to do them again, but they had to be filmed. And yeah, that's not fair. That's not fair that we were promised an hour and we were given 5 minutes. 55 minutes were lost because of her failure to plan and do things right. And then she said you need collecting at 7:15 outside H1 unless you want to stay to watch the Year 12 performance, in case you'll need to be picked up at 8:15. School break times and lunch times you'll have to eat in H1, even if a group is doing tech. This did not happen. We did not eat in H1 at all. We didn't even eat in the main hall. People just left, and the teacher did not care. That just goes to show that the teacher was not supervising us. She didn't care. She didn't care. She just let us go and do stuff, which doesn't look good. Which both doesn't look good on her, but again doesn't look good on the school either. You will all need to bring a packed lunch and a packed tea, as no one will be able to go off site to get food, and we can't have you hanging around the canteens at lunch in your own clothes. They said that couldn't happen, but it did. They just let us. They just let us do it. They just let us because they just did not care. This performance went severely wrong. This is on the teacher 100%. The teacher did not help us at all, even though we clearly needed it, and we did ask for help. She didn't care. She was making phone calls about her house on all the lessons. She was on her phone. She wasn't working at all. and she didn't help us at all. She didn't help. She didn't care. And it went wrong. And then a parent came into the school and started complaining to her about it. And she started crying. She started saying, like, oh, it's not my fault. Like, she was crying, and she was trying to blame it on... She was basically pinning it on everyone else but her. She's just trying to avoid the blame. This is one of the teachers as well. This teacher got punished for this. This teacher got a disciplinary on her record for this incident right here, because not only did she make all of this go wrong, she tried to accuse me. I said to her, hey, people are starting to go home, because my friends were literally going home. The other people in the performance were going home because they just couldn't be doing with it. And she said to me, oh, it's alright, we'll just do it on another day. It's only another £400 for the lighting technician to come in. Like, why are you blaming that on me? It felt like she was blaming £400 of loss on me. You can't say that to a student. You can't do that. That is not nice at all. That is wrong. 100,000,000% wrong. Oh, then we've got this. This was after all the performances were done, except mine, because we had to redo ours again. We were forced to do it. I said specifically, I don't want to do it again. We were forced to do it again. But she sent this. She said, congratulations on all your hard work for your successful performance recordings. One more to get recorded on July 19th. Do I have the performance? Oh, I think I have the performance somewhere. Please say I still have the recording. Where is it? Where did I put it? Is it here? I found it! I found the performance! I still have it. I'm going to be blurring faces. But this is the performance. You can see... Wait, if I play this scene with me in it, I'm going to blur... This is my friend here. I'm going to blur her face for her privacy. But you can just hear... I'm going to play you this clip of the thing, but you can just hear in my voice that I just don't want to do it. You can hear in both of our voices that I don't want to do it. That we don't want to do it. Right, let's play it. Let's play this clip. Here we go. Hey, it's Mark and Alice, and this is your daily dose of news.
Jumping in the deep end.
The world is burning.
I think what Mark is trying to say is that according to some conspiracy theories that have emerged on the internet from some scientist called
Robert Turner. You can just see that I don't want to do it. You can tell I don't want to be here. It was only worth like 10% of our final grade. It was 15 marks for that, for a performance I didn't even want to do. That's how pointless it was, and how little it would have affected our GCSE had we not done it. And then, right at the end here, I've highlighted it. She said, I will share this with you just before you break up for the summer. This is the video that I've just showed you. She said she was going to share it at the end of the summer. Before we break up for the summer. This did not happen. As you can see, dated on the file, it literally says 25th of August. I did not get the video until the end of August. I did not get the video until we were supposed to come back for year 11. Everyone else got theirs. By the summer, but we didn't get ours until the end of the summer. So that's not fair, is it? That's not fair, and it's not right. Miscommunication. Let's get into miscommunication. There is a serious problem with miscommunication at the school. For example, there was supposed to be a smart day on the 24th of May for year 11s. This is basically what I interpreted it as, was it was supposed to be a day where we come in and we wear like a suit. That's what I interpreted it as. And I didn't really see the point in it, because we're already coming in school uniform, which I'm going to actually show you the school uniform for the school. This is a picture of the school uniform. You can see here's the female one, here's the male one. And As you can see, it's already pretty smart. They were expecting us to come into school on this smart day in even smarter clothing. So we were expected to come into school, at least as I interpreted it, in more smart clothing than we already were already. And it didn't make any sense. Apparently an email was sent out to parents explaining the Smart Day and what you could and couldn't wear. Throughout the email, it explains that Smart Day was a celebration for the Year 11 students, that during this day they could wear smart clothing for it. It was never clarified what was considered smart, despite multiple emails being sent out about it, including an email that was supposed to clarify it, but never did. They never specified anything. They never said what I could and couldn't wear. It just said, Smart Day, come on in smart clothes. That was it. They didn't clarify. And apparently on this actual day, because I didn't go, because I didn't know what to wear, no one wore smart clothing. They just wore mufti, shorts and t-shirts. I've literally put it in, shorts and t-shirts, which is not smart. The school received a £1 million grant. This is going on to something random. They received £1 million to fix up the school. The plans included new toilets, new canteens, fixing the ancient heating system, and making outdoor spaces more suited to the rain. So far, none of this has happened. I don't know if any of that has happened now, because it's been many months since I wrote this. I have asked my brother, who still goes to the school, and he said it hasn't happened yet either. So you can clearly see how much they care about that. Apparently, this was in a Facebook debate at the beginning of last year. £800 of the grant was spent on replacement uniform for students who failed to wear the correct footwear, instead of spending it on things that would actually benefit the school. £800 of that grant was spent on shoes for students that could not be bothered to wear the correct uniform. This last thing in the review, this is before I get to other things that have happened. Thirdly, this is probably the worst one to talk about for me. The fact the teachers favour those deemed popular in the school. So basically, during my time in Year 10, Year 11, no teachers ever interacted with me or my unpopular friends the way that teachers interact with popular people. Sometimes I would get like a, oh, hello, from a teacher that I knew, my film studies teacher. I absolutely love her. She was the best teacher, honestly. Make her the principal. I don't think she's there anymore, but make her the principal. She knows what to do. But yeah, that was the only teacher that ever talked to me, was my film studies teacher, and sometimes my maths teacher, my old maths teacher at least. And yeah, no, the head of year is probably the most guilty of doing this, in my opinion. The old one, because he's gone now. He would only sort of interact with the popular people. He would only sort of interact with them, talk with them, do whatever. And he would favour them. He would favour them over someone like me, who wasn't popular at all. He would favour them over certain things. He would give them certain roles. He would give them certain awards. I'm sure there was an award thing once. There was a thing where you would spin a wheel and it would give you like £10 as an Amazon voucher. This wheel, I still thoroughly believe this wheel was rigged. Because they never spun it in assembly. They would always spin it before the assembly and then read the results out in the assembly. They wouldn't show us doing it, which makes me certain, 100% certain, that wheel was rigged. So I'm sure of it. I'm sure he favoured the popular people in everything, no matter what. And then on the 24th of May, also known as the Smart Day, the Smart Not So Smart Day, that was never clarified to anyone, there was supposedly a rewards ceremony with the head of year the guilty one of favouring the popular people, may I remind you, who gave out fun awards to people. Some of these awards included the Strongest Student Award, which is a bit creepy for an adult to give to a student. An adult, a 40-year-old man, to give to a 16-year-old boy. That was a bit creepy, if I find that was to me. From the people I've spoken to that actually went to this event, because I didn't, 99% of the awards went to the popular kids at school. He just favoured over them. He favoured them. He favoured over them instead of people that actually work, if that makes sense. So people that have just sort of claimed to fame and that was it, which happened. Someone just sort of joined the school 2 weeks and he was like the most popular person in the year group. And the fact that the school thinks it's okay to teach people that you'll get nowhere in life if you're not popular makes me sick. It literally makes me feel like I had no voice at the school, along with the other people deemed this way. It's vile, and they're teaching people that if your peers don't see you as good enough, then you'll be left in the ditch. And the fact that the teachers are practically endorsing this behaviour is polluting both our current and future generations. If they continue to endorse the fact that if you're not popular, you will not succeed, then I can't see it. I can't see that school being a good working environment at all. As soon as you go into college, no one cares. Literally no one cares if you were the most popular kid in secondary school. No one cares, because college is more serious. The head teacher doesn't know what she's doing. I honestly do think that. I think she's not very confident as a head teacher at all. Honestly, they should have kept the old headmaster, not the one that was fired, but the one they brought in as a temporary head teacher. It should have been him that stayed as permanent. And SLT are becoming far more militarised in the way they work. Since the takeover, they've begun guarding toilets, only letting 1 or 2 people in at a time, which causes massive queues. Literally 20 or 30 people would be queued up to the toilet, just because they'd only let 1 or 2 people in at a time, when there's literally 5 stalls in the toilet. It would go way quicker if they actually just let people in, instead of just 1 or 2 people. They've been walking around with radios, etc., which is what they already did that before, but it just became way more militarized in the way they did that. Because they would just walk around. They go, geography block secure, blah 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 secure. This student's going off to isolation, whatever. Like that, it just felt like I was in a prison, basically. I can't talk about that because it's controversial and I probably get in trouble. I've heard from anonymous sources, this is from the 6th form by the way, this isn't from the academy anymore, this is from the 6th form which is tagged on to the academy. The teachers, some of them at the 6th form, don't know how to teach the course they're teaching, and the teachers of those courses have even admitted that they can't teach the courses that they teach at the 6th form. I don't know, but it definitely sounds a bit fishy to me. Definitely sounds a bit fishy. If I could, I would rate this school 0 stars due to the atrocity that I have faced when going here, because I think 1 is far too generous. By the way things are going, I honestly don't think the school will last another 5 years. It's a mess up there, to be completely honest with you. No amount of grants, new head teachers, new trusts or new rules will be able to fix this wretched place. Overall, I beg of you, do not send your child here. If you live near another net secondary school, go there instead. Now we're going to be talking about some other things that have happened. Namely, another performance from drama. Another one. And this is a performance. This is... I had to go... as part of the drama GCSE, we have to go and watch a performance of something. This was a performance of something called, like, There's No Flowers in Italy or something. I don't know what it was called. It wasn't called that. It was called, like... But yeah, we had to go and watch that, apparently. But yeah, anyway, there was a performance that we were supposed to go and see in January, called, like, There's No Secrets or something. I can't remember what it was called. Yeah, we had to go and watch that. Now, you would sort of think it would be, like, a small little price to go and see it. We're talking, like, £5-10 for a ticket. No, was not £5-10, £30. 30 for a ticket to go and see this thing. I made that abundantly clear that I did not want to go. My parents emailed my teacher in Year 11 at drama, basically just sort of saying, I don't want to go, it's too late at night, it's quite expensive, and basically I don't want to go. He came back with this: "Thank you for your email regarding the upcoming theatre trip. I had a chance to chat briefly with Aaron today, and it's clear that he shares similar frustrations. I basically just said I don't want to go, and there's nothing you can do to stop that. That's all I said." And he basically just sort of begged me to pay for it. He just sort of said, well, you can pay the £16. You can pay the £10 for the ticket. You don't have to get on the bus. And I was like, no, I've decided I'm not going to see this performance. Don't beg me to play it, because I'm not going to go and do it again. And he sort of said, well, it's disappointing you might miss out on the trip. I completely understand your concerns about its cost. We weren't talking about the cost, I was talking about how late it was at night and the fact I didn't want to do it. He's just sort of said, oh yeah, the cost. I was like, no, cost isn't a problem here. It was the fact I didn't want to go. Firstly, I'd like to clarify why the trip was planned for this time. The GCSE requires students to attend a live theatre performance and write a live theatre review as part of the exam. It's crucial this production isn't too distant from the exam date, yet not too close to disrupt other studies or revision. It was in January. The actual exam was in May. 5 months. Are you telling me that it was 5 months? You could have not planned it a little bit closer to the 5 months late, the 5 months thing. Your points about the cost of living are entirely valid. Allow me to propose a couple of alternatives. Firstly, perhaps there's a way to cut costs by excluding the bus fare, meaning arranging Aaron's transportation to and from the theatre. This adjustment would bring the price just down to £11.25. This is from £28, by the way. I understand this might pose logistical challenges, but depending on your situation, it might be feasible. We were not talking about money. Money is not a problem for us. It is not. It was just the fact that I did not want to go and it was too late at night. Alternatively, the play runs until Saturday the 28th. Would it be more convenient to attend on either Friday the 27th or Saturday the 28th? He's basically just sort of said here, go and see it yourself. Another option, which I discussed, is the exam board does permit students to watch a live recorded performance. This is exactly what I said to him. I said I would rather do that than waste my time going to see the performance late at night and then have to come into school the next day. I said this would be far easier, and why isn't this an option for people already? Like, I was the only person that did this, by the way. I was the only person that did not go. And I got a 4 in GCSE drama, so I passed, even though I didn't even watch the performance correctly mind you. I just sort of skimmed through it and made notes on it. I didn't even watch it properly. I finished it in like 20 minutes, so whatever. For instance, we have an A-level workshop scheduled for February, Hewish. Aaron is invited. I declined that invite. He begged me to go to that. He begged me to go. And I said, no chance in hell. No chance in hell am I going. And that's basically just sort of me talking about the school. Ooh, we've got this thing about the homework. Should we watch this? And this is what I think is ridiculous, is the homework stuff. This video is about, like, the homework we were supposed to do, like, all day. The homework we were supposed to do after school. So we're going to sort of watch this short little video that the school made. The school made this, and we're going to make some comments on it, okay?
A knowledge organiser is the learning resource which Hewish students use for all of their homework tasks. It contains the most...
It really isn't. It's not. Some teachers, when I was there, gave me maths homework from a book, and it was a whole practice paper. None of this was on the knowledge organiser. I was just expected to do it.
Important subject-specific words and content that pupils need to learn. Students are given a clear timetable which shows them which subjects they need to complete on each evening of the week.
As you can see, every single day. Homework every single day. For half an hour of homework, and then half an hour of reading on top of that homework. So you have to do an hour of homework every single day, including the weekends.
Minimum expectation is to spend 30 minutes or complete one whole page per subject.
I never did this. I never did a whole page. I just sort of wrote. I wrote one. I have my homework book from year 11. I'm going to show you it. Right, so she says, I know this teacher as well. She taught me biology. She's a really nice teacher. I don't have anything against her. This is my homework book from year 11. She's saying half an hour a day or a whole page of homework to be completed. That is 1 day of homework. That is 1 day of homework that I did. So from here to here, that's all I did. And my form tutor was okay with that. So they obviously don't expect you to do a whole page of homework. And it's just been that all year. It was that all year. It's literally just like a little bit of a page per day for homework until the 22nd of April when we stopped. This was the first bit though. Even the first bit of homework that I did, was not a full page. It wasn't even half an hour. I spent like 10 minutes on it.
If there are 2 subjects on a night, then that is 1 hour of self-quizzing.
Oh my god. So they want you to spend an hour and a half total on this homework. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely insane.
Students should then begin the process of look, cover, write, check.
I never did this, and I don't think anyone else in my year group, even my brother didn't do it. Yeah, none of us did this. We just wrote it down. That's exactly what I did. I just opened the knowledge organizer, wrote down a definition, and closed the book, and no one cared. So, not very good on their part. This just details the process. Yeah, but look how much they're writing. I wrote literally nothing. Look, this is nothing. I'm writing basically nothing per day, and they want you to write a paragraph of definitions. So on their absolutely wonderful note, I'm going to leave that video here. I don't know if I'm going to talk any more about the school, or any more of its wrongdoings, which I probably will in future. I'll probably do another part. But yeah, that was sort of like my run through of the school's wrongdoings and such, etc, etc. So if you guys enjoyed this video, then like, subscribe, and whatever. If you have any questions or queries about what I've said today, don't be afraid to ask. I will answer it to the best of my ability. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, and like, subscribe, and whatever, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So goodbye guys, goodbye.